Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayantirayit. Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtuti. Om Agnanathmirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya. Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamini. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. 332.5. ये स्वधर्मान् न दुह्यन्ति धीरा कामार्थहेतवे निस्सङ्गान्यस्तकर्माणः प्रशान्ताः शुद्धचेतसः. Those who are intelligent and are of purified consciousness are completely satisfied in Krishna consciousness. Freed from the modes of material nature, they do not act for sense gratification. Rather, since they are situated in their own occupational duties, they act as one is expected to act. Very, very important point here. The one has to be intelligent and have pure consciousness. Because only one who is intelligent, he will look at material dualities and this material world and say this is of no use. So one has to be intelligent, and just intelligence is not enough. And one who practices Krishna consciousness, then his consciousness becomes pure. So intelligent and with purified consciousness, then one is completely satisfied in Krishna consciousness. Then one doesn't look for any other means for happiness, sense gratification, etc. So he will be freed from the modes of material nature, because purified consciousness means, purified by definition means that not affected by modes. So then he does not act for sense gratification. He will just do his duty, whatever his duty is, whatever is expected to do. And he also knows what is expected. He knows what is expected and he just does that. That's all. But not for sense gratification, because he's intelligent and his consciousness is purified. The first class example of this type of man is Arjuna. Arjuna was a Kshatriya and his occupational duty was to fight. Generally, kings fight to extend their kingdoms, which they rule for sense gratification. But as far as Arjuna is concerned, he declined to fight for his own sense gratification. He said that although he could get a kingdom by fighting with his relatives, he did not want to fight with them. But when he was ordered by Krishna and convinced by the teachings that his duty was to satisfy Krishna, then he fought. It's very important that we be convinced. If you are convinced about Srila Prabhupada's books, then we will go and distribute Prabhupada's books. If you are not convinced, then we will not. First of all, if you are convinced, then we'll read Prabhupada's books, then we'll distribute Prabhupada's books. Because then the order will be taken seriously. If you're convinced. Otherwise, we don't take the order seriously. So Arjuna took the order seriously because he was convinced. Thus he fought not for his sense gratification, but for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Persons who work at their prescribed duties not for sense gratification, but for gratification of the Supreme Lord are called Nissanga. So freed from the influence of the modes of material nature. So simply working without wanting sense gratification means Mukta, Nissanga. Nyasta Karmanaha indicates that the results of their activities are given to the Supreme Person of Godhead. So they are not working for sense gratification, but for the gratification of Supreme Lord. So they give the results to the Supreme Lord. Such persons appear to be acting on the platform of their respective duties, but such activities are not performed for sense gratification. They are performed for the Supreme Person. Such devotees are called prashantaha, which means completely satisfied. So with whatever Krishna is giving, they are satisfied. They just do their duties not for sense gratification, but for the pleasure of Krishna, offer the results to Krishna, and thus are completely satisfied. Prashanta means satisfied, but Prabhupada is saying completely satisfied. Because Shuddha Chetasa means Krishna conscious. Their consciousness has become purified. In unpurified consciousness, one thinks of himself as the Lord of the universe, but in purified consciousness, one thinks himself the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. Putting oneself in that position of eternal servitorship of the Supreme Lord and working for Him perpetually, one actually becomes completely satisfied. Working for Him perpetually means till our duties, our Varnashrama duties are there, we work, offer the results to Krishna, and be satisfied with whatever He has given. Then that will become a way of life, and then we'll just be satisfied with whatever. As long as one works for his personal sense gratification, he will always be full of anxiety. Anxiety or, yeah, na sochati na kankshati. Either lamenting or desiring or being anxious. This state will not exist. That is the difference between ordinary consciousness and Krishna consciousness. So it's very, very clear that we have to be satisfied with our situations, whatever it is. Generally, we are always looking for some better prospects in everything, being material, spiritual. Actually, even spiritual, we should just do our, we should have greed, but we should never be unsatisfied. We should be satisfied, meaning, okay, this is what I'm able to do. Okay, fine. Because if you become unsatisfied, then whatever Krishna consciousness we are doing, we lose the consciousness. Krishna consciousness means that, yeah, Krishna is in control. I'm dependent on him, and I'm putting my sincere efforts. So whether material or spiritual, we should never be in a dissatisfied condition. We should always be satisfied. But we also want to do more. That is just greed. So this is very difficult to understand because materially dissatisfied mean people are dissatisfied because of greed. But spiritually, we have greed, but we are not dissatisfied, which means we are happy with what we have, but we also want more. Achintya. This is the mood that we have to have to make progress in Krishna consciousness. Right? Because if we become dissatisfied, then we somewhat become perturbed, and then whatever we are doing is also not will not be okay. Yeah, we all have our own anarthas, and we should just strive hard to get over those anarthas, but we don't brood over them. We don't brood and then think, oh, no, no, I'm worthless, I'm useless, I'm not able to make progress. We shouldn't go into this negative thing. See, the idea of identifying all these things is to know where we are heading, where we have to go. That's all. Not taking it and thinking, oh, no, no, I am the doer, so, but I'm not doing anything properly, so I'm fallen, this, that. That's not the idea. We are fallen, that is known, that is why we are here. But we should know where we are going, and we should not just remain complacent about our current position. But we should just keep striving more and more, depending on Krishna, but fully satisfied with our current situation, but wanting more. Right. So that has to be the mood. Everything is about bhakti is achintya. Mm. How can one be completely satisfied yet want to develop greed for achieving Krishna? That is the art that has to be learnt. Actually, it's very easy on the spiritual platform because we depend on Krishna. We know that, okay, this is what my anarthas are so much that I'm only able to do so much, but I will keep trying. I depend on Krishna, but I absolutely desire Krishna's association, Krishna's service. So then we will have greed, but we'll also be completely satisfied. And materially, though, we have to be satisfied. I mean, that is a given. Because if we are not materially satisfied, then we will not do anything properly. We'll not even practice our bhakti properly. Nothing. I mean, we'll just a recipe for complete disaster. So materially, we should just be satisfied. We can do our duties, try whatever we need to do, but not again to attach to it. Do whatever comes is fine. So some of these, of course, cannot be like a blanket instruction or guidance, right? So it depends on situation to situation. So we might Have to look at situations and maybe say different things. But in general, if one is just satisfied, it's the best thing. Now, one who is not satisfied, then obviously he will start thinking, okay, okay, no, no, but is this so? Yeah, so many conditions will come. I'm more capable. I'm getting less. What is this? Should I still accept it? So many things. Then that requires some conversation, understanding, etc., etc. But in general, if you're just satisfied, knowing that whatever I'm getting is as per my karma phala, in fact, Krishna is so merciful that he's given me more, then we can just focus on Krishna consciousness and make progress. Social pressures will be there, etc., etc. So it requires individual discussion. Nivritti dharma niratha nirmama niraha hankritaha swadharmaptena satvena parishuddhena chetasa. By executing one's occupational duties, see again and again, occupational duties, occupational duties, occupational duties, means varnashrama. By executing one's occupational duties, acting with detachment and without a sense of proprietorship or false egoism. Again, doing our duties without attachment, without sense of proprietorship, nirmamo nirahankara, samadukka sukakshami. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has already spoken about this in Sthita Pragna. Mm. Without sense of proprietorship or false egoism, without attachment, just doing duties, one is posted in one's constitutional position by dint of complete purification of consciousness. So, by living like this, just doing occupational duties without attachment, without expectations, without sense of proprietorship, automatically the contamination of the modes will go. So, we will become pure. When we become pure, then obviously, then we are ready to enter because that is mukti. Of course, we want to enter Krishna's kingdom, then we will have to do little more, but we'll just get mukti. And by thus executing so-called material duties, he can easily enter the kingdom of God. So simply by doing prescribed duties without attachment, one can get liberation. Here the word nivritti dharma nirataha means constantly engaging in executing religious activities for detachment. There are two kinds of religious performances. Means dharma. Religious performance means dharma. Pravritti dharma, which means the religious activities performed by Grihamedis for elevation to higher planets or for economic prosperity, the final aim of which is sense gratification. Every one of us who has come to this material world has the sense of overlordship. This is called pravritti. But the opposite type of dharma is called nivritti, is to act for the pleasure of Supreme Lord. Engaged in devotion service in Krishna consciousness, one has no proprietorship claim. Nor is one situated in the false egoism of thinking that he is God or the master. Nor should one be. One should not have proprietorship claim. One should not think that he is God or master. Then we are in Krishna consciousness. But actually, we forget this. In our day to day engagements, we almost always take the position of master, meaning, you know, upper hand. You're not saying, listening to what I am saying, all these kind of things. General tendency is to remain masters, whoever it is. Yeah. Even if the poorest of poor, he will have his own, you know, area of overlordship. Everybody does this. Even dogs do it. Dogs in a particular road, that is their road. They'll protect their road. They'll think they're the masters of the road. Uh, yeah, but one who is in Krishna consciousness, he doesn't think this way, and he always thinks himself as a servant. So that is the process of purifying consciousness. See, this is so nice. Only if you always, all the time, 100% remain in the mood of servant, then our consciousness will be very pure because we will never think about enjoying ourselves. That is why, we have to be in that Trinadapi, servant mode of servitorship. Then the consciousness will become pure. With pure consciousness only can one enter into the kingdom of God. Materialistic persons in their elevated condition can enter any one of the planets within this material world, but all are subject to dissolution over and over again. So simply by following Varnashrama Dharma, one can actually become liberated. That is what this statement, this verse is saying. Because by acting in Varnashrama Dharma without Varnashrama Dharma means what? Basically doing occupation duties without attachment, without sense of proprietorship. Consciousness is pure, which means that they're ready to get out of this material world. So we are never taught this in our life. Nobody teaches this. And even after we coming to bhakti, while on one end we are doing bhakti, but we are still not working in this consciousness. So we should work for the pleasure of Krishna. We should adopt nivritti dharma. Should not adopt pravritti dharma. Pravritti dharma becomes mixed devotion. Nivritti dharma becomes bhakti, Shuddha bhakti. सूर्यद्वारेण ते यान्ति पुरुषं विश्वतोमुखं परावरेशं प्रकृतिम् अस्योत्पत्ति पत्यन्तभावनम्. Though the path of illumination, through the path of illumination, such liberated persons approach the complete personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of the material and spiritual worlds and is the supreme cause of their manifestation and dissolution. Suryadvarena, by the illuminated path or through the sun planet. The illuminated path is devotional service. It is advised in the Vedas not to pass through the darkness. This is this Dakshinayana, Uttarayana, but to pass through the sun planet. It is also recommended here that by traversing the illuminated path, one can be freed from the contamination of the material modes of nature. By that path, one can enter into the kingdom where the completely perfect personality of Godhead resides. Of course, so one who is doing pravritti dharma will, based on his karma, either go up or go down. But one who is doing nivritti dharma, uh, and then he can take the path of liberation through the illuminated path. And then one can enter the kingdom of God. The words Purusham Vishwatomukam. By the way, so this is the gradual process of elevation. What is being described here is called the gradual process of elevation. There's a direct process of elevation which is to directly go to Goloka. This one is gradual, going through sun planet, purification, going to higher planets, then Brahmaloka, then along with Brahma going. This has already been described by conversation between Maitreya and Vidura, I think. The words Purusham Vishwatomukam mean the Supreme Person of Godhead who is all perfect. All living entities other than the Supreme Person of Godhead are very small, although they may be big by our calculation. Everyone is infinitesimal, and therefore in the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is called the Supreme Eternal, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. He is the proprietor of the material and spiritual worlds and the supreme cause of manifestation. Material nature is only the ingredient, because actually the manifestation is caused by his energy. The material energy is also his energy, just as the combination of father and mother is the cause of childbirth. So the combination of the material energy and the glance of the Supreme Lord is the cause of the manifestation of the material world. The efficient cause is therefore not matter but the Lord himself. Viparardhavasyaneya pralayo brahmanastu te tavadadhyasate lokam parasya parachintakaha. Worshippers of the Hiranyagarbha expansion, the personality of Godhead, remain within this material world until the end of two parardas when Lord Brahma also dies. Oh, actually, this is the description. Yeah. So they will remain. Um, so Hiranyagarbha uh, is a form of the Lord which is Garbhodakasmai Vishnu. Hiranyagarbha. Second. Because he received his material body from Hiranyagarbha. Mhm. No, no, this is not sun god. Brahma is also called Hiranyagarbha. Hmm. So basically, these are worshippers of Brahma. Let's see what Prabhupada is saying. Actually, he's saying Garbhoda Kashaya Vishnu here. Okay. One dissolution is at the end of Brahma's day, and one is at the end of Brahma's life. Brahma dies at the end of two parardas, at which time the entire material universe is dissolved. Persons who are worshippers of Hiranyagarbha, the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhoda Kashaya Vishnu, do not directly approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vaikuntha. So those who are worshippers of Hiranyagarbha, who is the plenary expansion of Garbhoda Kashaya Vishnu, they do not directly approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vaikuntha. They remain within this universe on Satyaloka or other higher planets until the end of the life of Brahma. Then with Brahma, they are elevated to the spiritual kingdom. The words Parasya Parachintakaha means always thinking of the Supreme Lord or being always Krishna conscious. When we speak of Krishna, this refers to the complete category of Vishnu Tattva. Krishna includes the three Purusha incarnations, Mahavishnu, Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu, Kshirodaka Shai Vishnu, as well as the incarnations taken together. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Ramadi Murti Sukalani Amena Tishtan. Lord Krishna is perpetually situated with his many expansions such as Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, Madhusudana, Vishnu, Narayana. He exists with all his plenary portions and the portions of his plenary portions, and each of them is as good as the Supreme Lord. The words Parasya Parachintakaha mean those who are fully Krishna conscious. Such persons enter directly into the kingdom of God, the Vaikuntha planets. This is what I was saying, the direct path. This other one, whatever is being described, is the indirect path. So they go to the sun planet, they become purified of material contamination. Then they go to Brahmaloka, they stay there for two parardas. At the end of Brahma's life, they go to Vaikuntha. If they are worshippers of the plenary portion, Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu, they remain within universe until its dilution, and after that they enter. Uh, yeah, so those who are directly worshipping Krishna, they will go directly. Right? Those who are worshipping Hiranyagarbha. Um, so those who are worshipping Vishnu, uh, Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu specifically is saying, I don't know whether what will happen to Kshirodaka Shai Vishnu worshippers, but it is Paramatma. Okay, so yeah. So looks like people who devotees who worship Vishnu, they will remain within this universe until its dissolution. But devotees who worship Krishna will go directly. Now, there are not sure if worshippers of Narayana are treated differently. That is not clear here. Okay, so here it is worshippers of Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu. They will go to Vaikuntha along with Lord Brahma. Shamam bho nala nila viyan mana indriyartha bhutadibhi parivritam प्रतिसञ्जिशीर्षुः अव्याकृतं विशति यर्हि गुणत्रयात्मा कालं पराख्यम् अनुभूय परस्वयंभूः. After experiencing the inhabitable time of the three modes of material nature known as two parardas, Lord Brahma closes the material universe, which is covered by the layers of earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, ego, etc., and goes back to Godhead. The word Avyakritam is very significant in this verse. The same meaning is stated in Bhagavad Gita in the word Sanatana. This material world is Vyakrita, or subject to changes, and it finally dissolves. But after the dissolution of this material world, the manifestation of the spiritual world, the Sanatana Dhamma, remains. The spiritual sky is called Avyakrita, that which does not change, and there the Supreme Lord resides. When after ruling over the material universe under the influence of the time element, Brahma desires to dissolve it and enter into the kingdom of God, others then enter with him. Again, the gradual process. एवं परेत्य भगवन्तम् अनुप्रविष्टा ये योगिनो जितमरुन्मनसो विरागाः तेनैव साकममृतं पुरुषं पुराणं ब्रह्मप्रदानमुपयान्त्यथा अगताभिमानाः. And the yogis who become detached from the material world by practice of breathing exercise and control of mind reach the planet of Brahma, which is far, far away. After giving up their bodies, they enter into the body of Lord Brahma. And therefore, when Brahma is liberated and goes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Brahman, such yogis can also enter into the kingdom of God. So this is the impersonalists. Yogis who are impersonalists. By perfecting their yoga practice, yogis can reach the highest planet Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, and after giving up their material bodies, they can enter into the body of Lord Brahma. Because they're not directly devotees of the Lord, they cannot get liberation directly. They have to wait until Brahma is liberated. And only then, along with Brahma, are they also liberated. It is clear that as long as a living entity is a worshipper of a particular demigod, his consciousness is absorbed in the thoughts of the demigod, and therefore he cannot get direct liberation or entrance into the kingdom of God, nor can he merge into the impersonal effulgence of the Supreme Lord. Such yogis or demigod worshippers are subjected to the chance of taking birth again when there is again creation. Hmm. Okay, so some yogis who are worshipping. So, what is yogis? That is not clear. So, a yogi who wants to reach a higher planet, because yogis can go anywhere. Yogis can choose to go merge with Brahman. If yogis want to go to the spiritual planet, then they become devotees. But these yogis who want to go to higher planets, they can go to Brahmaloka. And because they are worshipping a particular demigod, they'll be worshipping Brahma. So they can't get direct entrance. So then, if that person whom they are worshipping, which is Brahma, he becomes liberated, then they also become liberated. So it's all complicated. Simplest thing is to directly worship Krishna and go back to Krishna. All this, conditions apply. Different conditions, different destinations, and it's pretty complicated. Like we can see, direct path, different demigod worshippers. They go to different higher planets, then slowly they come to Brahma, then with Brahma they can get liberated, provided they don't want to still continue to enjoy this material world. If they want to continue to enjoy material world, then they are just urdhvam gachanti satvasta, kshine martya lokam vishanti, go up, come down, go up, come down. But if somebody wants to get liberated, but they are not worshipping Krishna directly, then this is seems to be the indirect path. Like I said, it's not clear what is the path for worshippers of Narayana. But worshippers of Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu also seems like indirect path. Okay, I think we'll do this one verse. Atatam sarvabhutanam padmeshu kritalayam kritanubhavam sharanam vrajabhavena bhamini. Therefore, my dear mother, by devotional service, take direct shelter of Supreme Lord, who is seated in everyone's heart. Of course, he's talking about Paramatma, but Supreme Lord. Basically, come to Supreme Lord. Don't get stuck in demigod worship. Don't get stuck in impersonalism. One can attain direct contact with Supreme Lord in full Krishna consciousness and revive one's eternal relationship with Him as lover, Supreme Soul, as son, friend, or master. One can re-establish the transcendental loving relationship with the Lord in so many ways. And that feeling is true oneness. The oneness of the Mayavadi philosophers and the oneness of Vaishnava philosophers are different. The Mayavadi and Vaishnava philosophers both want to merge into the Supreme. But the Vaishnavas do not lose their identities. They want to keep the identity of lover, parent, friend, or servant. In the transcendental world, the servant and master are one. That is the absolute platform. One meaning again, one in interest. Uh, so the servant wants to serve the master in that way he is one, not that he loses his identity. Although the relationship is servant and master, both the servant and served stand on the same platform. That is also oneness. Because they're all spiritual, they're all equals. Lord Kapila advised his mother that she did not need any indirect process. She was already situated. When I say all are equals, it is qualitatively equal. Lord Kapila advised his mother that she did not need any indirect process. She was already situated in the direct process because the Supreme Lord had taken birth as her son. Actually, she did not need any further instruction because she was already in the perfectional stage. Kapildev advised her to continue in the same way. He addressed his mother as Bhamini to indicate that she was already thinking of the Lord as her son. Devahuti is advised by Lord Kapila to take directly to devotional service because without that consciousness, one cannot become liberated from the clutches of Maya. So some of these devotees like Devahuti, they are already on that platform, but they come down, they ask questions for our benefit. So she's already engaged in devotional service, otherwise she wouldn't have got Kapildev as her son. So Kapiladev is telling her, saying that you just continue the devotion. And just like Arjuna was put into a little bit of delusion, all great devotees of the Lord are put into a little bit of illusion so that the Lord will speak for us through them. Mm, Yeah, I think we'll stop here. Yeah, stop it. Any questions, comments? Little bit technical. Is it clear? Anybody? Any questions? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubheshcha Kripa Sindhubhyam Chakati Nam Bhavane
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yeah, Nayak Prabhu.
Yeah, so when we say like Dashavatara on Krishna and other avatars, it's going to be almost same. But then why there is so much of discrimination? I mean, kind of a different path, and it's all been defined, and it takes a longer way. And through Krishna, it's a short. I mean, it's probably anyone might think, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, anybody wants to answer Nayak Prabhu's question? Why there are so many forms if they're all one? Other devotees should be able to answer.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
I'll give it a try. Prabhu, this is basically different pastimes of Lord itself. That's number one. And also, we as humans, we are at different levels in our spiritual journey. So each one gets attracted to one type of a pastime or one type of a form of a Lord. So maybe that is one of the reasons.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Anything else?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Based of the condition scenario, like this,
Yeah.
Bhamana.
Yeah, based on the scenario. Yeah. Okay, nice. Any other thoughts? Yeah, so basically the most important thing is the Lord reciprocates with his devotees in the form they like. So I mean the same pastimes could have happened in a different form, for example, but those devotees involved in that particular pastime actually want to see the Lord in that form. So the Lord reciprocates. And these forms are also eternal. Actually, in Vaikuntha, all these forms are there present eternally. So the Lord, Krishna is all complete. And then in all these other forms that he takes, he is not Purnatama. Purnatama means completely perfect. He accepts or displays only partial qualities. That is why they're all called Amsha and Kala. Amsha means portion. Plenary portion. Plenary portion means that they are only displaying some qualities. Now, why those qualities? Only based on how much ever is required for the particular pastime that they will be doing. So, both reasons, devotees' desire and the Lord's function. And all this is primarily Vishnu. All these Dashavataras, etc., come through Vishnu. So Krishna, Balaram, Sankarsana, I mean, before the second Sankarsana, everybody has their own roles, and they don't come down for, okay, how do I explain? So Dharma Samsthapanarthaya. So for the sake of establishing Dharma, all these various Leela avatars come down. Right now, based on the situation of Adharma, when they have to come, they will display different qualities. Buddha displayed totally different qualities, right? Matsya, different qualities. It is based on the dharmic or adharmic situation, because they're coming to establish dharma, paritranaya sadhunam, vinasha dharma samsthapanarthaya. So based on how much ever is required, that much only. So for example, see, how do we understand? If there's a small, tiny nail to be hit, to be put into the wall, you don't use like a sledgehammer. You use a small hammer, because that's good enough. Right? So like that, based on the conditions, only as many qualities are demonstrated by the Lord. And then of course, then there are so many, there are Leela avatars, Guna avatars required to manage the modes in the material world. Then there are Saktyavesh avatara. So some jivas are empowered by the Lord, and they are empowered in certain ways. So there are so many things. See, without actually Lord taking so many forms, for example, Manvantaras, without Lord taking all these different forms, actually this material world cannot function at all. We are in ignorance thinking I am the doer, right? But without, during creation, we already saw that without all the demigods, they come and stand in front of the Supreme Lord saying that we are all here, but nothing is happening. We don't know how to make it work. So that supreme intelligence is actually Krishna's, right? So then he enters into all of these elements through Durga Devi, which is also a Shakti of Vishnu. So various functions have to be performed in connection with the material world. This jail is complicated. So the Lord has to take so many forms to manage all this. And also those forms are very dear to many of his devotees. Of course, in the spiritual world, um, these forms also exist eternally. Again, those forms which are actually avatars, meaning which also time to time come down to this material world, they're also eternally present in Vaikuntha. Then there are avatars which don't descend because for dharma samsthapana, mostly Krishna, Balaram, like Radharani, etc. So they are present there, eternally enjoying their pastimes, and whenever they feel like, they'll come, not for dharma
Sorry,
samsthapana.
sorry to interrupt. So here, talk to interrupt because you said the monorupa is again Vishnu Narayana. So in that case,
Manvantara
other rupas.
avatars, not Manus themselves, but there are there's an avatara called Manvantara avatara. Manvantara avatara means the Lord also takes up a form during every Manvantara to assist the Manu.
But monorupa is Vishnu Narayana. Right?
What is that?
Vishnu Rupa. I mean Narayana. What to say?
No. What is the first part of your sentence? Mula Rupa?
Monorupa in the sense like the first when we say Dashavatara, we have many avatars, including Krishna,
No. So the
Rama.
Mula is Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigrahana Adiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So Krishna is the Mula, is the original, is the Adi Purusha. From Krishna, Balaram, then Sankarshan, then so many expansions come from there. Narayana is an expansion of Krishna. And Narayana also is there in the Vaikuntha. Then the Vishnu who comes down who is connected with material creation, maintenance, etc. He is an expansion of, from Narayana, Sankarshana comes, then from Sankarshana all these Vishnu come. So Vishnu is different, Narayana is different, Krishna is different, Sankarshana is different. So you have to read Bhagavatam more to get into the depth of this. Okay, I'll stop there.
Thanks, Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarupeshcha Kripasim. Ananta Koti Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Then